Okay, so on quiz access, exercise 2.7, it asks you have different cases, calculate the unknown amount. Okay, so this is, let me pull up my good old handy dandy Excel file. Make sure it's big enough so everybody can see my work. You actually make this a little smaller and bring it down here. There we go. Okay. So quarantine company had $165,000 of accounts payable on September 30th and 139 on October 9th. So let's see, AP. So let's do 930 and 1031. These are the balances, 165 and 139. Okay. Which I'm just going to calculate up front a variance. So this is a change of a decrease of 26,000 from one month to another. Okay. Total purchases on credit during October were $294,000. Total purchases on credit was 294. That's too big. All right, let me do a little bit of work here to get this so I can actually understand what I got. Okay, determine, so here's the big thing, determine how much cash was paid on accounts payable during October. Oh, interesting. Okay. How much cash was paid? Okay, so there's a couple of ways of doing this. I'm just going to go with what I think they're trying to get you to do. They're trying to get you to do something like a T account. So I'm going to do accounts payable. I'm going to have a debit side and a credit side. I'm going to create a T account. Let me just make this a little bit bigger. Not that big. And we'll just go ahead and move this up since we don't need that real estate. Okay. So accounts payable, we'll do a little T account. Drop this in here on the left-hand side, make this so we can replicate it later on. And we'll put a bottom on here. Okay, there we go. That's a nice little T account. We've got a beginning balance at the end of September of 165. Okay, I put it on the credit side because accounts payable is a liability account, and liability accounts have a normal credit balance. Okay, so that's why I put that there. I know that I purchased stuff on credit to the tune of 294. And because I purchased it on credit, that means it increases the accounts payable balance. So I put these over here, purchases. And this is opening balance. We'll make this one the closing. Okay. So then the question is, now that I know that the balance, this is going to be equal to the sum of this number, these numbers, minus the sum of these other numbers. Right? I know that. Okay, so right now I've got a $459,000 balance. We'll just keep it like that. Okie doke. So the question is, do you remember how much cash was paid on accounts payable during October? So how much was spent? How much was debited in accounts payable during the month of October to get this balance from to $139,000? There's a couple of ways of doing this. I like the good old goal seek method, but you could also do it another way, because you know that it decreased by $26,000 and you know that your purchases were 294. So one easy way of doing it is to say, okay, I know I've got to at least zero out the credit side on the debit side, and I got to reduce it to even $26,000 more because that's my variance. If I did that, those two numbers, right? I have my variance here, which is the decrease. I know I have purchases on credit. I know, see, I have to zero this out. So theoretically, the payment should be $320,000. That's one way of doing it. The other way would be to not put that number in there, but to run this one, do a goal seek data, do the what if, to a goal seek, and I want that balance to be $136,000 by changing, no, 139, sorry,
Yeah.
$139,000 by changing this, the debit side, the payment side. And it should get me to the same number, 320. 294 plus the 26. Okay, 320. Right? That's how I would solve that first part. So if I came back over here, right, they basically done the same thing, right? Oh, I didn't even know that they had the answer here. Okay, so you see the answer and exactly the way I did it, where it basically created a T account for accounts payable. They have the beginning balance of 165, payments on account of 320, minus the purchases of 294 gets you the ending balance. Okay. So that's how my mind thinks. I'm working through that first one. Let's look at the second one, and I won't go to the answer first. I'll just bring up the problem. We'll see what that's at. Okay. On September 30th, Valerian Company had 109,000 balance in accounts receivable, asset account, normal debit balance. During October, the company collected 109,390 from its credit customers. The October 31 balance in accounts receivable is 102. Determine the amount of sales on credit that occurred. Okay, so very similar. I'll just copy this, copy and paste it to another sheet. I didn't do that right. Copy. Copy. There we go. Okay, so we're going to do, now this time we're going to look at AR. I know on, what was it? September 30th, my balance was 109. And my balance at the end of October is 102. So now I got that set up. So it decreased by 70,000. This one is sales on credit. Actually, let's look, what does it say? They collected 109,390. Okay. So now we change this to accounts receivable. We know that this is wrong, that's wrong, this is wrong. We actually want to redo this a little bit. So we're going to, since it's a debit balance, we're going to take that sum minus this side of the sum. Oops. Just put in our formula here. And okay, so we're good for the a debit base. So we got an opening, we've got payments, and we've got sales. Okay. Opening balance is 109, right? Collected is a credit, 109,390. So the question is, what's sales? And sales on credit are going to increase accounts receivable. So same type of thing. We know that we have to be able to zero this out and get the closing. We need to get the closing balance to the 102. So the easiest way is just go to what if, goal seek to a value and make it the 102. And change the value here, which is sales, the debit side, because it increases the balance, and let my Excel do the magic. And so the sales should be 102,390. Following there? The other way of looking at it is I know they have to zero this out, so I'm just going to do the math here. I need to do the 390 plus, oops, You can start here first. I know I need the 390. I need to zero that out. Equals 109,390. So that zeroes out that credit side on the debit side. I knew I need to bring this closing balance to at least a zero. No, I had to bring it, has to be, what do I got? I have to take out the 7,000 plus that. So same thing. And decrease it by 7,000, but I already got a decrease of 390. So it should be something like that. That didn't quite work, did it? So the question is just back to the goal seek. What if? Oh my gosh. What if? Goal seek. Take that to 102, 123 by changing this. 102, 390. So what am I missing here? 109 minus the 7 plus the 390. That's what it ends up. No, just 109 minus the 7. Same math that I did on the other one. Not sure why I didn't understand that. 102, 390. So zero this out and then drop it by 7,000. Does that make sense, Josh, so far? Not sure.
Yep, I'm with you.
That's two different ways of looking at it. I mean, the signs here kind of get it, make it messed up. That's why I go to the goal seek first, see what the number is, then if I can back into how I got there. All right, so if I go over to required B, then I should have 102, 390, right? 102, 390. Okay, so that's how I got to that one. The last one during, go ahead.
Do you have an easy way of remembering what is a normal credit and what's a normal debit? Or is that just memorization?
The easiest way for me is the accounting equation. Anything on the left side, the assets, is a normal debit.
Okay.
Anything on the right side is a normal credit.
Okay. Thank you.
So the trick there is understanding what accounts go where, right? Is it an asset, a liability, or an equity? That's going to be your biggest learning, memorization, understanding. But you know, for the most part, anything that's something that you own or something that you should own, accounts receivable, for example, is always going to be on the asset side. Anything that you owe somebody else is going to be on the liability side. Anything that's related to stockholders or dividends and stuff like that's going to be on the equity side. The only trick on that, though, is the contra accounts. The accounts that don't follow the normal rule, that's what a contra account is. So on the asset side, that is largely depreciation and amortization. One of those two. It's an account that reduces the balance of equipment or intangible assets. On the liability and equity side, really the only one, maybe two, is dividends and treasury stock or contra accounts. Other than that, everything else follows the normal rule. Okay, good question though. That always comes up. All right, so on the last one, let's see what we got here. During October, Alameda had 115 of cash receipts and 116,150 of cash disbursements. The October 31st cash balance was 25. Determine how much cash the company had at the close of business. Okay. So I'm going to use the AR one since it's an asset-based one. I can use the same formula stuff. So I'm just going to copy this over to here. I'm going to say cash. They had a balance of, oops. Balance of 20. Oh, it didn't give me the ending balance, did it? Okay, no ending balance. So I'm gonna have to do this a little bit differently. We'll just ignore this for now. Make it a little simpler. Delete. Okay, so there's cash opening, cash receipts, cash, let's call this disbursements. Okay, zero these numbers out. Right. So opening was what? Opening was 25,100. Cash receipts, that's money received. So that increases your cash account. Cash receipts, so that's 1,500, that's going to be a debit. Your disbursements is a credit because it's reducing the account. So that's 116,150, and that should give me a balance of 24,450. That math is easy. Just adding and subtracting, right? So now when I come over to required C, I should have the right number, 25,1. Ooh, I got it wrong. Did I enter something wrong? Huh. What do they have? Oh, backwards. Okay, that's why. I read the problem wrong. Hence, everyone is fallible. I read it wrong and therefore I got it wrong. So I would have gotten 2/3 on this one until thankfully it's a quiz access and I can do it over and over and over, right? So it's backwards. Okay, I don't know what the opening account balance is. All I know is the closing, right? The October 31st balance, not the beginning balance. Okay, same thing though. So I want to change, I don't go, easiest way is go to goal seek, do my value, cash balance was 25,100 by changing the beginning balance. And it should run it right to this right number, 25,100. There we go. I got it right. 25,750. Let's see if I got that right. Yep, I got it right. 25,750. Okay. So basic T accounts, basic operations of beginning balance, ending balance, a debit or a credit. These are the types of questions you'll get. And so once you get it set up for, either an asset account or a liability account, then you'll be able to just work with the numbers and get the answer that you need. Backing into it, basically. Any questions on that? Okay, that's 27. That's one that, what was the other one? 228. Let me close this up. 228 down here. Yeah, 228. Oh, this is the one everybody fits with, inevitably. I bet you already have a video on this, but I might do it again just for the grants. Let me check. Oops. Let's see if I can spell right. I have to accounting 201. There you go. I did do it. 228. So I won't do